Welcome in, feminine. Oh my goddesses and gods, you are welcome to the Enlightened Goddess Key. It is your girl, Goddess Wise. I'm sorry, you guys, you might hear my little one. She's in her bedroom, but she's definitely still up for the night. Normally, I shoot after she goes to bed, but she's up tonight, and I'm shooting a little earlier because my downloads was coming in. It is what it is, right? I thank you for being here, of course. I pray that you've had a beautiful day, and I'm happy you're here for a bit of enlightenment. So I'm going to go ahead and cleanse our space with a little bit of a sound bath. If you are sound sensitive, please turn your volume down, but I would definitely suggest making sure you do listen to this Note D sound bowl because it is cleansing and it will pull a little bit of the energies that you've had within you all day out of you. So here we go. We're going to take a long deep breath in, hold for 2 seconds, and release on a long exhale until you empty the lungs, okay? All right. So I'm going to get started with the fact that I literally had a whole page of notes. My phone on D&D. I had a whole page of notes that I was ready to go into. Can I tell you, I was setting myself up, setting up the camera, cleaning my table, because I always cleanse my table before I get started, setting up my chair. I turned on my light and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure everything's good. And I'm like, just doing that, like pretty much being a little extra on top of things. And I just got finished channeling and I heard no. And I'm like, no. So as I'm in that energy, I sit down and I'm just like, no, what's going on? And my spirit guides had advised me to take a deep breath in, just like I just did a second ago, and to just settle into where I was sitting and just listen and channel. And as I did, I got, why are you getting ready for a performance? And it stopped me for a second and I was like, a performance? Where is this coming from and where is it leading? Because that's the biggest thing. So I sat with the energy a little further and immediately pulled my book out. So that was the first thing I thought. I was like, okay, well, obviously I need to sit with my own energy for a bit before I jump into talking to you guys about collective energy. As I did that, I realized that the whole page of notes I had that I had channeled ahead of time were obviously not for tonight because I started writing new notes and it was based off that idea of performance. And I knew that this was your message, so I'm definitely talking to feminine energies who are going through that process of undoing the performance mindset. Now, this is a very normal thing. I feel like we live in a society where performing has become way more important than really living. We're taught very young, as little girls, to perform for validation. Whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, it is very much a thing. In the day and age of social media as well, it doesn't make it any better. Because even if you were taught not to compare yourself to everyone out in the world, you begin to do it anyway. So as a little girl, you may have been your whole life never thinking to compare yourself to a feminine or to anyone else, and go to school or log into social media, and now all of a sudden you're looking at yourself and picking every single flaw you could find within yourself and going so deep into those flaws that you have no way to even accept them as just a part of who you are. And that was the message. So I do have my notes here. The question for tonight is, when did you first need to perform for validation? And like I said, I remember being a little girl, and even with your parents, because that's the biggest thing, is we don't understand how, as parents, what we teach our children stay with them, and they could make or break who they become as adults. Now in this case, a lot of parents don't realize that when you send your child to school to get good grades and you leverage things that they want or things that they find to be appealing for those grades, you are teaching them to perform. When you get excited when something positive happens, they come home with a trophy or something, and that is the only time you jump up and give them a hug, you teach them to perform for your love. So as parents, we need to be very mindful with the way in which we go about teaching our children, because even when you're not in teacher mode, you are still your child's first teacher. And that is a role that has beautiful results but can have detrimental consequences. Now, the next question I had following that was, what were the perks? So I want to go ahead and get one of my decks. Which deck, you guys? Oh, this one, okay. What's the Vibe deck? They love What's the Vibe to start off. So as far as when you first started performing, what we want to do is we want to go into what were the perks of doing so, because that's the only reason why you do perform, is because there's something you're getting from it. The perks: smell the roses, slowing down, take some time, get out in nature. Okay, so one of the first reasons why we get into that performance role, so we can get the perks, is so that we can feel rewarded. One perk that I've always seen, not only for myself but in other children, is when you get that validation that you've done something that is worthy of praise, you initially get to slow down and be like, oh my gosh, yes, I got it. It's like a relief, because you've got that dopamine hit of feeling validated, of feeling like I did what I needed to do and someone noticed it. So you slow down a bit, because for now you get to kind of revel in that feeling of, yay, someone sees me. So this is one of the perks. You naturally want to keep getting that. And this is why, even as a child, if you hated performing for grades and love, you unknowingly adopt the habit and take it into your adulthood. What other perks do we have? Thank you. We have established, settled, secure, and wealthy. I feel it's definitely security. Most children and women, just the women in general, because we can kind of veer it away from women and just go away from children and go into just feminine energy in general. Feminine energy naturally want to feel secure. This is an aspect that our masculine counterparts can usually reel us in with. We want security. It's just a natural thing. And when you grow up not having it, you learn that performing for security is one of the ways you can get it. So you keep up the acts, you keep up the dancing to get the attention or to get the notoriety, so you can feel secure within that person. All right, I'm channeling somebody's energy. So definitely have a collective here who's overextended themselves for the sake of feeling validated when it comes to performance. Ripping and running for a spouse or a partner so that they can say, oh no, I see what you did. Oh my gosh, you did all this. Thank you so much. But not feeling fulfilled though. And that happens as well because remember, even when you're performing, you're not able to fully live as you. You're being what someone else wants you to be. Any other perks? Recharge, breathe, let go, and clearing your mind. I'm getting to reduce anxiety. So we kind of touched on the fact that you get into comparison at a young age when you are a feminine energy. You're able to kind of clear your mind at that comparison for just a brief moment when you perform. Just naturally. Because like I said, for half a second, you're able to breathe, to slow down. And it just naturally feels like a reward in some sense. But you are deserving of that breath regardless. You are deserving of being able to be clear-minded and not have to compare who you are, who you're becoming to what's around you. And the sooner we learn that it is our right to be who we are, regardless of what anybody else wants us to be, the sooner we grow through these aspects of self. I'm going to grab one more. Toxic, drama, arguments, and incompatible. Yeah. I'm getting to relieve stress. Now, in most cases, especially when you grew up with these factors, performing allowed you to not feel targeted. So it kept the toxicity at bay. So you learn to perform to lessen your hardships. You learn that if I provided what everyone desired of me, I would not have to worry about if I could have comforts. So jumping into that mindset, it was easy. It's a safety mechanism. You're in survival mode when it comes to you being a performer. So it makes it very hard to get out of these instances, especially when you are prone to having terse and argumentative conversations because of your lack of performance. Now, the next aspect I had was, how does this show up in your relationships today? Where are we going? Okay. I haven't used this deck in a while, but this is the one they're calling. Okay, all right, let's go. I don't even remember what this deck actually, how it plays out, but this is the one they called for. So our spirit team is going with this. How does this show up in your relationships today? Connectivity. So it allows you to feel connected. Okay, I see where you're going with this. Okay, spirit team, take it away. Connectivity. So it allows you to feel as if you are a part of something when you can perform. You don't feel like an outsider. And it is just through the fact that you're providing a service or you're providing emotional wellness to others, it can allow you to feel like you're a part of the group. So in relationships, you may be someone whose love language is acts of service if you are a performer. or if you've been a performer your whole life. You feel connected and loved when you can actually give to others. And it's a beautiful factor as long as it is done in a very healthy way. So this will show up in relationships very easily because you feel as if you perform, that person will love you more and it will allow you to stay connected. How else does it show up in relationships? We got two. I'm going to take the top one. It says transmuting pain. Yeah. I've actually seen this as well, where you naturally are a performer because it allows you to not have to feel too deeply. Because as you feel, you overly feel, it puts your nervous system in shock. That shock is actually not good because what you'll see show up is ailments. You'll see it show up as, just a lot of fatigue, mental instability, depression. It shows up as so many different factors when you're emotionally dysregulated. So being able to provide yourself with regulation through that process is the healthy way to deal with it. Because remember, you're now undoing training that was probably placed on you as a young child. So now you have to undo this. So just be mindful of the fact that this is not really a method to get rid of pain and to transmute what you've been through. But if you are doing it, now you know. Knowledge is power. Let me get one more. How does it show up in relationships? Okay, and this one is spiritual narcolepsy. Ooh, wow. Yeah, come through, Holy Spirit. They said this deck, right? Spiritual narcolepsy. It's being asleep spiritually because you're not adhering to your own needs when you are someone who is in performer mode. When you have to perform for everyone else's well-being, you can't be you, which means spiritually you are asleep. Life isn't flowing for you. So it's very disruptive to who you're becoming because you're stuck being who you need to be for everyone else. So it shows up in relationships in so many different ways. What do we need to be mindful? What's on the bottom of the deck? Bold steps forward. Okay, so that's the route we're going. It's going to take for you to make a whole lot of bold steps to become someone who undoes performance mode. But like I said, knowledge is power. And that is the biggest step to make. Now that you know you've been performing your whole life, and it is not due to your own faults, it's due to programming. Are you ready to undo the program is the question. And I think I had one more question. Yes, I did. And it was the most important one. The last question is, what if you stopped? Now that is the question right there, isn't it? What if you stopped performing? What if you stopped being what everyone wanted you to be and you just were you? You weren't mom, you weren't daughter, you weren't sister, wife, you were just you. What would that gain you? Would you be accepted as just you? Would it be limited as in the fact of accepted today because you're just being you, but if you wanted to be you tomorrow or long term, is it then going to raise an eyebrow? Is being you against the rules when it comes to those around you? All of these are important. So ask yourself that regularly. I'm going to get 2 cards as far as advice from our spirit team. And then we will conclude, you guys. Okay, we got one. The first one is desperation. Never do anything out of desperation, because in doing so, you may never regain your dignity or your reputation. Now, that is amazing advice, because this is one of the reasons why we perform, is because we think that that's what we need to do in order to feel accepted. You are not desperate for validation, acceptance, or even love. The right people will love you, and they won't ask you to bend over backwards to be someone different. So own that. And if they don't accept you for who you are, when you are just able to be you, you are in the wrong place. And it is time for you to start to evaluate what the right place should look like and how you're going to get there. Because no one should live as someone else because they're not accepted. Let me get one more. Baggage, yeah. Baggage says, resist being weighed down by the guilt and shame of the past. The past is exactly what it is, the past. So unpack and begin your healing. Start life anew and stop dragging the old into the new. We couldn't have said it any better. Our spirit team loves us. God loves us. It's time for us to unpack this, because now that you know that you've been forced to perform your whole life, or now that you know you've been forced to perform in general, it's time to unpack it. What if you stopped? And if you did decide to stop, who would accept you for who you are? Because those are the ones that can stay around. Everything else that doesn't fit must go. And God is co-signing on that. God did not put you here to be someone's puppet, to be someone's live show for their amusement. If they get to live with the comfort of you doing everything, or you being someone you don't want to be, what are your perks? What do you get out of that? Because living in survival mode is not a gift. That's a prison. All right, we're going to get one message from your higher self. Higher self, what we got? Come through, higher self. Thank you. Stop trying to carry the world on your shoulders. Oh my gosh. It don't get no better than that. Stop trying to carry the world on your shoulders. It's not your job to perform for everyone else's comfort. It's not. And now that you know that it's not, it is your chance to change. Because if you are here, you are becoming enlightened, which means you're not the only one on this journey to become your best self, your higher self, and to master self. You are on this journey with a whole lot of other feminines who are doing the same thing. So definitely be sure to subscribe, join the community. We're building a community here, you guys. And we are going to grow together, especially if you don't have anyone in your life who allows you to be you. You can be you here. I thank you for being present, and I will catch you in our next video.